and mornings give you the purest chance to prove it. The snooze button doesn't just delay your alarm, it delays your evolution. And when you abandon discipline in the early hours, you're not tired. You're telling your goals they can wait. You're telling your dream that your comfort is more important than your destiny. But when you rise with intention, when you face the silence and still choose action, your reflection changes. Because now, instead of seeing regret in the mirror, you see a warrior building self-trust brick by brick, habit by habit, and that's where confidence, clarity, and power are born. The truth is, your morning habits are your identity in motion. If they are scattered, weak, or inconsistent, so is your mindset. But if they're focused, grounded, and executed with discipline, then you're telling the universe and yourself, I'm serious about who I'm becoming. And nothing is more dangerous than a person who honors themselves through discipline before the world has a chance to distract them. Your morning isn't just a routine, it's your reputation with yourself. Every morning, before a single message hits your phone, before the noise of the world intrudes, you are faced with the purest version of your discipline. And how you respond to that moment defines everything. Because those quiet decisions, whether to rise or roll over, to move or stall, to focus or scroll, they whisper to your subconscious what kind of person you truly are. And here's the truth most people avoid. Discipline doesn't show up when it's convenient. It shows up when it's hard, and your ability to hold your line in the morning determines how solid that line stays when life gets loud. When you hit snooze, you tell yourself that your excuses matter more than your goals. But when you rise without question, you train your mind that your word is law. And over time, that internal trust becomes unshakable power, not because of a single big move, but because of thousands of tiny self-respecting decisions made in silence. The way you start your morning is a contract. You either show up for the vision you swore you wanted, or you drift further into regret disguised as rest. Self-respect isn't built in public. It's forged in the moments when your discipline tells your distractions to shut up and sit down. So when the world wonders how you became so focused, so clear, so untouchable, it won't be because you shouted louder. It'll be because every sunrise, while they hesitated, you executed. Every day you choose to rise strong, you deepen the message. I am not a slave to comfort. I am the author of my life. And that's what turns your mornings into a mirror, reflecting the mindset of someone who's not hoping to win. They're committed to it. Silence isn't empty. It's where your best ideas are waiting. Before the world begins its chaos, before the notifications, traffic, conversations, and noise dilute your energy, the early morning hours hold a sacred space, a stillness that most people sleep through. But the high performers, the visionaries, the legends, they rise into it. Because they know that between 4 a.m. and sunrise, there is a rare frequency of peace that unlocks not just clarity, but creativity, focus, alignment, and flow. In those hours, your thoughts aren't fighting for space. They're flowing freely like a river untouched by crowds. And when you give yourself that solitude, you're not just avoiding distraction. You're entering a mental state where the deepest breakthroughs, sharpest decisions, and most original ideas are born because no one is pulling at your energy, no noise is corrupting your intuition. And in that raw silence, your mind finally breathes deep, stretches out, and gives you the purest version of your truth and vision. Peace in the morning is not weakness. It is a weapon, a mental reset, a direct access point to your higher self, where your subconscious speaks louder than your doubt. And that's when you ride like a storm, plan with precision, create with passion, and reconnect to the purpose that got buried under yesterday's stress. And once you tap into that morning clarity consistently, you stop chasing productivity through caffeine and chaos. Instead, you start flowing from calmness, executing with intensity and moving with such focus that people wonder how you make it look effortless. But they don't know your secret. You harvest your genius in silence when others are still dreaming. And that's why you outthink, outwork, and outlast. Because your clarity wasn't luck. It was earned in the sacred golden stillness before the world ever opens its eyes. Hindu greatness whispers, only the early risers hear it. There is a sacred clarity that arrives only when the rest of the world is still asleep. When the air is untouched by noise, when the day hasn't yet demanded anything from you. This is the hour when your mind becomes a blank canvas, free from judgment, expectation, or rush. And in that space of silence, peace becomes power, creativity becomes alive, and your thoughts begin to align with your highest vision. Because you're not reacting, you're creating consciously, powerfully, without distraction. The early morning hours are not just a time to hustle. They're a portal to your deeper intelligence, where mental clutter dissolves, your inner voice grows louder than the opinions of others, and the ideas that have been buried under pressure finally rise to the surface with clarity and confidence. And when you use this time intentionally, writing, thinking, planning, designing, praying, visualizing, you begin to notice that the peace you cultivate early doesn't stay behind with the sunrise. It follows you, shapes your mood, enhances your focus, and makes you unstoppable in a noisy world that can't touch the calm you've already built within. That flow state you chase in the middle of chaos. It starts at dawn, in silence, in stillness, in solitude, where your soul reconnects to purpose and your mind organizes everything that felt impossible the day before. The early hours are not for the weak. They're for the intentional, for those who understand that clarity is not found by accident, but accessed by discipline, by rising early not to impress the world, but to master your internal world before anyone else even touches theirs. And the truth is, once you experience the creativity that flows from a peaceful mind before sunrise, you stop chasing external motivation. Because now, you are tapped into something deeper, something unshakable, and that makes you unbreakable. It's not what you do once, it's what you repeat that rewrites your future. Transformation is never the result of one powerful day, one grand gesture, or one intense burst of motivation. It's the outcome of relentless, unshakable consistency. The kind that most people underestimate because it doesn't shout. It whispers daily in small disciplines, silent choices, and quiet wins when no one is watching. And while the world glorifies overnight success, real change belongs to those who choose to show up again and again, even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when there's no applause. Especially then, because consistency is the invisible force that separates the ones who talk from the ones who live it, the ones who start from the ones who finish. And every time you choose discipline over distraction, purpose over pleasure, progress over perfection, you are not just moving forward. You are reprogramming your mind, reconditioning your spirit, and reshaping your reality from the inside out. Those 4 a.m. mornings, those reps at the gym, those journaling pages, that silent hustle, it all compounds into confidence, resilience, and self-respect. Until one day, the person you once only dreamed of becoming becomes the person you see in the mirror, not because of one moment of intensity, but because you refuse to break the chain of commitment to yourself. And that's why the greatest transformations aren't loud. They're consistent, disciplined, patient, and earned. Because true change doesn't come from doing more, but from doing what matters most over and over, until it becomes who you are, until your habits reflect your vision, until your routine becomes your reputation and you realize that the path to a legendary life was never hidden. It was just paved with the same small steps, repeated with uncommon consistency, while others kept starting over. Success doesn't respond to emotions, it bows to consistency. The reason most people never see real transformation isn't because they lack talent, resources, or time. It's because they chase intensity, not consistency, expecting the world to change after a week of effort. But transformation doesn't reward the one who does the most. It crowns the one who refuses to quit. And that's where the power of small, repeated actions becomes unstoppable. You stop waiting for motivation, and you begin moving like a force of nature, grounded in purpose, fueled by repetition, and protected by habits so strong that even on your worst days, your routine keeps you aligned. That's the hidden truth. Consistency is not about being perfect. It's about showing up regardless, creating systems that hold you up when your willpower dips, and mastering the art of getting back on track faster than you fall off. Because progress is never linear. But consistency makes sure you're always climbing, even through the setbacks, the delays, and the detours. And soon your identity shifts from someone who wants to change to someone who already has. Not because you shouted louder, but because you acted longer, you stayed steady. And you became the kind of person who doesn't just start strong, but finishes stronger. And over time, that quiet commitment builds a momentum so powerful that your life no longer runs on feelings. It runs on standards, on values, on your unshakable internal agreement to evolve. And every day you honor that commitment, the results begin to echo louder than any excuse ever could, until the gap between who you were and who you are now becomes unrecognizable. And that's when you realize consistency wasn't the hard part, it was the hidden superpower you've had all along. You don't need anyone's permission to become unstoppable, just your decision. This is not the end. It's your beginning, your launch point into a version of yourself the world hasn't even met yet. Because now you understand that the greatest shift doesn't happen outside. It happens inside when you stop waiting, stop explaining, stop doubting, and start owning who you are and who you're becoming. Every chapter, every truth, every mindset you've embraced has planted a seed of transformation that only grows when watered by action. And from this moment forward, you owe it to yourself to stop shrinking, stop settling, and start stepping boldly into the life you were designed to live. Because you don't need a crowd, a title, or even perfect conditions to rise. You just need discipline when it's boring, focus when it's hard, silence when they doubt you, and the courage to stay true to your mission when no one's clapping yet. This journey was about reclaiming your power, realigning with your purpose, and realizing that peace, strength, self-respect, and success don't come from the outside world. They're built from within, brick by brick, choice by choice, morning by morning. And now you're not just inspired, you're armed, you're ready, and you're rising. Because when you move with intention, speak with purpose, and lead with unshakable belief, no obstacle can outlast you, no silence can shake you, and no one, not even your past, can stop what's already in motion. A life lived on your terms at your highest standard, with a legacy that speaks louder than any doubt ever could. You are no longer waiting for a breakthrough. You are becoming the breakthrough. Now take a breath and realize this. The version of you that started this journey was only surviving, but the version reading this now is awakening, rising with purpose, direction, and a no excuses mindset that turns pain into power, silence into strategy, and focus into fuel. Because now you know your mornings are sacred, your boundaries are armor, your peace is a non-negotiable, and your story is no longer being written by fear, people's opinions, or the limits of your past. You're writing it with discipline, self-respect, and bold decisions that refuse to let you stay average. Because greatness was never about noise. It was always about alignment, consistency, and becoming so rooted in your mission that no setback, no rejection, no delay can derail your destiny. And as you walk forward, you walk with new eyes, a sharpened spirit, and an unshakable voice that no longer seeks validation. It commands it. And while the world keeps chasing quick success and hollow applause, you've chosen the quiet, unshakable road of legacy, power, and self-mastery, where your work speaks, your energy leads, and your results roar louder than any excuse ever could. You are the storm that no one saw coming, the comeback story in motion, and the reminder that sometimes the most dangerous person in the room is the one who stayed silent, stayed focused, and showed up every single day without needing recognition, because now your life is your proof. Keep going, you're just getting started.